Hello everyone, this is Yelisa, and these are old and cheap acrylic paints. Some of these might be even a decade old. Like these, I don't remember when I bought them or how I even got them. However, most of these were gifted to me, only these that I might have purchased long time ago, and I just had them with me for a very long time. Many years. I will try to make art with these. I'll see how it goes. For those who don't know, I do not paint with acrylics. I usually paint with oils, actually. This is my treasure box. This is where I keep all of my oil paints and mediums. So I have quite a collection, and some of these are also very old. But the thing with these is that, don't mind this, this is actually to open the caps, because some of these are so old that I need tools to open them, but the paint is still good. And since the oil paints are usually quite expensive, I don't want to waste any, even if they're 3 decades old. That's heavy. So, I'm gonna get ready, set it up, and we can start painting. Now, I'm not very experienced with acrylic paints. I usually paint with oils. That's my preferred method. I'm not used to how acrylic paints dry fast, and the technique is a bit different as well from what I understand. So if you have any suggestions, any tips, I'll be happy to hear those. I have a set of brushes as well. These were given away to me as acrylic paint brushes. I have my jar of water, and I have my plates, just normal plate to mix colors. I only use this plate for colors, so I don't eat from this plate, so don't worry. I have a reference ready. I'm gonna be painting a fox, just a study. I found a picture on Pinterest. Tried to find the photographer, but so far I'm unsuccessful. I tried to use reverse image search, but I couldn't find anything, just that one picture from Pinterest. I'm gonna be painting in my sketchbook. I covered this side because I don't want to get any paint on my drawing here. Ignore the date. This is the date from the drawing that is underneath this primer. Sometimes when I don't like the drawings in my sketchbook, I cover, if they bother me, if annoying to look at, I just cover them with primer and then paint on top of it. So I just save pages that way. So what I'm gonna do first is use one of the worst paints that I have from this box. Pick some colors for background, I think. I want to make a light background, a bit bluish. It's very weird consistency of these. I think they're just too old. But it's a sketchbook, I just want to use it. I really don't like wasting art supplies. So that's the reason why I'm not like just buying new better acrylic paints, because I have these, and if I buy new ones, these will never get used. And also I'm still learning with acrylics, even though I have enough experience with oils, but still I think it's just not the same. So I decided to try these first, see if I even like painting with acrylics. That is something I'm thinking of doing long term. Then I might invest in a better set, but so far I don't think I need anything expensive to do some small paintings in my sketchbook. Also, another question I have, actually, anyone who is experienced with acrylics, how much water can you use with these? Like, does it make the paint less stable if I use more water, or it doesn't really matter? because I know oils, we have to be careful with how much medium we use because it will affect the paint long term. But I wonder if adding more water like disrupts the structure of the paint itself, like the resin. It doesn't really matter on the sketchbook, I'm not planning it to keeping it long term, but if I'm planning to do any canvas paintings maybe, I wonder if that will affect it at all. I tend to not overthink beforehand. I think while I apply paint, I just throw it on there and see if I like it or not. And then the good thing about paint is that you can paint over things that you don't like. So if I don't like something, I can always just paint over it. So there's no point wasting time in thinking where to put the brush stroke. I just put it and see if it looks good, if I like it, if I can work with it. If not, I paint over it and try again. It's not a big deal. I also use this cheap easel that I got from a discount store. And I bought it just so I can use it as a secondary easel. I have a bigger one, but I have a big one and I have a plein air easel. But I bought the simple one just to put it on the desk if I'm drawing and I want to keep the either canvas or sketchbook upright. It's very convenient. Honestly, when I bought it, I didn't think it's going to be this useful. I figured I could use it with my sketchbook and it's very, very good. So it seems that these paints don't have much pigment. To be honest, backgrounds, I think is the most relaxing part of any painting, at least for me. It's just so, doesn't require much thinking, doesn't require much planning, just putting colors on. Sometimes I just wanted the backgrounds, that's it. Just paint the background and leave it. One thing I'm noticing, I don't know if this is just the cheaper paints or the acrylics in general, is that when I apply colors, once they start to dry, they darken so much. And it's really hard to know how light I should go to get the color I want in the end. Oil paints do change color over time too, but it's a very, very minor change. What you put on is pretty much what you get. Yeah, I think that too. Don't want to overwork it. Since you probably don't want to sit and watch the paint dry, I'm gonna come back once it's ready. Okay, prepare some more colors and we can get to the fox itself. Okay, so that's all dry now. I'm going to use a slightly smaller brush. So looks like that. What I'm going to do first is to just map out the shape of the fox. Since the pigments are so thin, I'm going to start with the lightest first and then build the color on top of it. Now it's the same process. I try to not overthink it. Just add it and see if it looks right. And what really helps is learn how to use negative space as a guide. Like I said, good thing about painting, there's no need to be afraid to just put color. Even if you're inexperienced. Might even be easier. Instead of being afraid of empty space, you just start putting color on, because if something doesn't go right, you can always just paint over it. You can let it dry completely and just start fixing things that you don't like. most of the time when I start sketching my paintings, or just drawings in general, they look very bad at first. Kind of have to trust the process. Also with painting, the lines don't have to be exactly. Nothing in the world really has sharp lines, so you don't have to create very sharp edges. I actually prefer when they just blend into the background, fuzz out, and only focus the details on the areas where you want the viewer to look at most. Even though this is a sketchbook, it's always good to practice that. For example, the body, the neck part, I'm not really sure where I should put it yet, so just put the color on, just start shaping it. Highlights. Anyone who paints with acrylics frequently, do you all use any mediums to help with the process? I just use the paint with some water. The angle of the eyes. Well, unfortunately, the camera stopped recording for some reason. But I didn't do too much, just I start adding more darker colors to start marking the shadows and just refining the shape. At this point, the eyes for me are always the hardest because getting the correct perspective and correct angle of them is extremely important to prevent it from looking uncanny. So I always come back to them with almost every step just to try to get that correctly. Because everything else pretty much can be, other than the basic anatomy, everything else can be improvised. It doesn't have to be accurate. But when it comes to eyes and just the relationship between eyes and the rest of the nose and the rest of the face, it's always the most important part, even if you do the stylized art. I try to not do the same spot for too long. I go back and forth. Not only helps to slowly build up the painting, so you do everything at the same time, so it's cohesive, but also just don't get yourself too tired from one spot of the painting, because you just stop seeing what it actually looks like and you just get a tunnel vision. Best thing to do is just move around, just work a little bit on one spot and then move to the next spot, work a little bit there and then keep going, and never forget to just back away and look at it frequently so you don't go off track. One thing I find really frustrating at times is that acrylics dry so fast, and sometimes when I'm used to painting with oils, when it's drying so slow, sometimes it takes weeks for the paint to dry. I'm used to that, so having to work with acrylics, it's a bit frustrating at times because I'm working on the spot and then it just I see something I want to do somewhere else. I fix it, I do it, I come back, it's already dry, and I have to just paint over it if I don't like it. Whereas with oils, you can still push and pull the paint around the canvas to get it where you want it. Same with the palette. The palette is mostly dry already. I'm not really sure if there are any ways to keep the palette moist for longer. I don't like to use any single-use palettes, or I've seen some people use single-use palettes, the ones with sheets, where they also put a damp towel underneath the sheet and it keeps the paper slightly moist and the paint doesn't dry so fast, but I'd rather stay away from those. I don't like, if I can help it, I prefer to use reusable things. The good thing about the paint drying on the palette so much faster is that you're forced to mix new color for the same area. That means there's more variation in colors in one area than with the oil paint. You can do that with the oil paint as well. Sometimes I just keep mixing new shades of it, but acrylics force you to do that in a way, because the color you mixed prior for that spot is already dry. You need to mix new. Third direction, which way it flows. Does it look like a fox? Maybe. Trust the process. I also try to use larger brushes for as long as possible. That way I prevent myself from getting into detail too soon. Yellow. I'm gonna have to cover that up. There is a little bit of yellow there, but it's too much. Well, it is the next day. Got tired yesterday, so I had to end it. But today I'm gonna continue where we left off. I have everything ready. I'm gonna use a small brush. I see today that the nose is a bit odd. It's a bit too short. I'll try to fix that. Looks a little bit better. think I just want to grab a detail paintbrush. I'm not used to painting on camera. Shaky hands. Painting just for yourself and then painting while someone's watching is two different things. I remember when we used to have drawing classes. I used to do fairly good while we were on our own, just drawing. But every time a teacher would come and check on us and see how we're doing, I would definitely get shaky hands then. I think the biggest worry was they do not shy away to just completely trash your work. Every mistake, every detail, up for criticism. Someone in the comments also asked to talk a bit more about my interests. I used to play piano. I stopped for a while because I started my German courses and there was just not enough time to do both. So I had to put my piano on hold while I learned German. Once I passed the exam, I'm gonna go back to practicing piano. Other than that, I am a crazy plant lady. Last count, I had about 150 plants in my collection. I really enjoy being surrounded by nature. I do enjoy going for walks. Started really enjoying filming. I would like to do some filming outside. There's not enough time in the day to do everything. I'll just make it happen somehow. I don't know how. But if I miss anything, I beat myself up for that. And if I don't have a calendar and I don't accomplish stuff that I want to accomplish during a month, let's say, or a year, I also beat myself up for that. Another reason why I finally decided to start a YouTube channel. I am a shy person, I'm very introverted, and I always was scared of negativity, what people will say to me or about me, and I didn't know if I was able to deal with that. But now, I beat myself up so much, no one else can say anything that would surprise me anymore. I am way meaner to myself than anyone else can be to me. So I'm scared of nothing, which is not healthy, but it kind of builds some sort of armor around me. I'm no longer scared of what people think, what people say. It doesn't bother me. I guess that's the only positive of that. So unfortunately it's already getting really dark. I'm gonna have to continue this another day. But this video is already getting quite long. I think I'm just going to edit this and post it on YouTube for you to watch. I'm gonna post it as part 1, and then I'm gonna finish this and I'm gonna post part 2 week after. A few things that still need to tackle, like this bit here, the nose and the mouth. Since it's an outdoor scene, it will need to be a little bit more blue. Here, this part needs to be shaped a little better, and the nose is too small, I think. I'm not sure about the eye. It looks okay. I don't think it's the right size. Although I do like making bigger eyes on animals. I just can't decide. What do you think? Should I leave it like that, or should I change it? Make it smaller? The ears also need to be done, and just the overall fur needs finer detail in some places. I'm not going to put too much detail on the background fur, it's really not necessary. I want all the focus to be on the face itself. I think it should turn out pretty good. It's just a sketchbook after all, but I do like having nice finished paintings, or somewhat finished paintings in my sketchbook. So if I flip through, look for ideas, it's very inspiring. I think I'm gonna do the same with my next sketchbooks too. I'm gonna do maybe more painting than I usually do. This sketchbook, I just about to reach halfway. It's gonna take a few more months at least to finish it completely. And once that's finished, I'm going to post a tour of the sketchbook. I also have another sketchbook which is much bigger. I think it's A3 format sketchbook, which I use for some finished pieces also, and for just sketching in general. So I can do a tour of that once that one's done. It has less pages. I'm gonna complete that after I'm done with this one. Unless I have any ideas for finished paintings, so I'm gonna just not finished drawings. Then I'm just gonna draw in that. If you're interested, then I can definitely make videos for those. Stay tuned for the part 2. That's definitely coming. I'm not abandoning this. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're having the very best day. And see you next time. Bye bye.